All right, Locomotion Episode 8, North America West, 1910. Let's see here. Let's bump up the amount of money that I have. And let's change my face. And let's change the color. And let's see what we have to do. We have to achieve a monthly profit from vehicles of $6,000 by the end of 1919. Finally, a challenge where it's all about making money. And if you ever want to know how to make money on this game, watch this. Okay, so first thing we're going to do is look at the overview map. We're going to see if we can find some resources. This is all about moving resources. So either I'm going to move some coal or I'm going to move some oil. So right now what I'm doing, I'm just taking a look to see if there are any coal mines right next to each other or oil fields right next to each other that could allow me to double up on the stations, and then I can just simply, basically have one circuit feeding two stations, or two oil wells, I should say. So it looks like these are pretty well spread apart, and I don't think there's an opportunity for joining two oil wells with one station. So to be honest, I haven't actually watched this particular episode, and actually it's been 2 years since I've captured it, so I forget everything that's going on, to be honest with you. But anyways, so I'm going to do a double station. I forget how long this is. Looks like they're 12 long. Double station, 12 long, with crossovers in the front, or switches in the front. Now, I probably could have joined the oil wells that were basically right next to the oil refinery, but the way how this game is structured, it encourages you to make longer routes versus shorter routes. So that's why I'm choosing to take on the oil wells that happen to be not so nearby the oil refinery. I suppose if I really wanted to, I could set up some tanker trucks, some vehicles, and have them do short runs to the oil refinery from that close by oil well. But to be honest with you, I never even touch the vehicle portion of this game. I find they don't make enough money quick enough, and again, the more vehicles you have, the more likelihood that they're going to break down an awful lot, and now you're just into this endless cycle of replacing vehicles rather than actually building anything. So what we're doing here is I'm actually counting the distance between the signals, so that they can be placed most effectively, so that the train is not going to get bogged down by either being too far away or too close to signals. Yeah, it looks like I'm doing some unnecessary terraforming here. I probably could have gone up another 10 meters and avoided all this, but let's see, what's it? 20, 10, yeah. I probably should have done that. I probably should have ramped up. Oh, I remember why. Okay. The reason why I did that is because I wanted to keep the spacing between the ramps I didn't want to have too many ramps too close together, otherwise the train will just slow down to a crawl as it's trying to go up the incline. So if I keep the amount of incline that the train has to undergo to maybe, I don't know, 5 meters at a time, then the train will probably end up just blazing up the hill without any huge issue. So here we're just kind of turning the corner, doing a quick connection. So that's the outgoing lane as part of the circuit from this oil well. And now I just need to basically do the same thing with the incoming lane to this particular oil well. So we might as well get a nice train, fill it up with tanker cars, give it some orders to basically take a full load of oil and basically deliver it to this oil refinery in El Paso. Now, unfortunately, the more oil that you actually deliver to this oil refinery is going to cause a little bit of an issue where you're going to have to start moving the goods that are actually created from the oil refinery. So you have to keep that in mind. The more material that you deliver to factories and oil wells and sawmills, the more likelihood that you're going to have to also manage the outgoing material from that particular industry. The only one that I can think off the top of my head where you don't have to worry about that are coal and coal-fired power plants. There's no material that is created by the power plant. You just have to worry about getting the coal to the power plant, and you just get paid for that. Nothing ends up sticking around the power plant because it's just using the coal to generate energy, and that's something that you're not required to have to deal with as almost like an exportable material. So we're just finishing up the second line here. I just want to make sure the signals are correct. Make sure they're pointing in the right direction. And we might as well put on a second train to this circuit. Give it the same orders and basically send it on its way. Fast forward a bit, see how things are running. I'm also checking the amount of material that's left over on the platform here in Dallas. I want to see whether it's worthwhile adding a third train to this circuit. Because there are 85 tons worth of oil waiting right after the last train leaves, it's probably worthwhile to put on a third train so that nothing is waiting around the platforms any longer than it should. So now I have 2 trains loading oil over at Dallas, and a third train is probably going to be coming right back, and we'll hold until one of those trains leaves. And as the game progresses, what will happen is that the oil well, or actually any resources, will start to spike. Production will double, production will triple, sometimes quadruple, and all of a sudden you have this huge glut of material at the point of resource, and you have to move that material as quickly as possible. Otherwise, it's going to stick around the platform, and that's not something desirable. So what I'm doing here, what am I doing here? Oh, I think what I'm doing is I'm creating a secondary circuit to grab oil from this particular oil field that is right by Beaumont. Just creating my crossovers. Obviously this platform's not long enough, so I'll have to add 3 more tiles of rail just to get to 12. And just like that, I have another double platform. And there's probably going to be oil waiting for me. So you can see how the trains are cycling from the first circuit. As one train leaves, one train is already on its way into the platform to pick up whatever resources are being produced. And what I'm doing here is I'm creating a secondary platform right beside the first one. So this is going to be a quad platform at El Paso, and that's going to pick up trains from the other oil well that I'm currently trying to pull material from. Now there'll be some railway configuring here just to realign everything. You can see how production is up over at Dallas. So we're going to see a lot of oil coming out of Dallas in a hurry. So I'll have to keep an eye on just how much oil is being stockpiled at the Dallas platform. So now what I'm trying to do here is to realign the incoming and outgoing basically realign the incoming and outgoing lines into El Paso here so that I can connect better to the other platform. I'm sure there's probably a shit ton of oil that's waiting on the secondary platform or the secondary circuit, and I'm just kind of goofing around here. How are we doing here? So we got 536 tons of oil waiting. So we're in a lot of trouble here already. There's more oil being produced than I can move. So let's put another train on the circuit and get things moving. You can see how there's a gap between when the last train leaves and the first train comes back. So adding a fourth train to this circuit will tighten up that gap and hopefully reduce the amount of oil that's being left on the platform. You can also copy orders from one train to the next rather than manually doing the same orders over and over again. You can just pick a train that already has orders, and you can select, I think it was called the end of orders text at the end of the orders list, and it'll basically copy whatever has previously, the orders that had been previously given to the other trains will just copy over to the new ones. So what I'm doing here, I'm just kind of tidying up, doing a little bit of terraforming so that I can finally connect the secondary circuit over to this location. And yeah, my apologies for the lack of audio from the game. I'm not sure what happened. I don't think my video captured the audio at a high enough level as I normally do. So sorry if you can't hear the clicks and the music. And this should pretty much connect the secondary circuit. Just need to make sure all the routing arrows are pointing in the correct location for incoming and outgoing material. Oof. Yeah, there's no oil waiting there because, well, no one's willing to take it. So what I need to do is get some money together so that I can get some trains moving. And what will happen is, as you start pulling resources away from the oil field, your approval rating will start to go higher, and then the oil field will start to produce more oil. And then as you get further and further, as your approval rating gets even higher, then you'll start to see the production of the oil field it'll start to increase. Either your production will double or triple or quadruple, and all of a sudden you're just making money hand over fist at this point. So at this point, I'm just waiting to get enough money so I can finish off this train. I think this is train number 6. We're going to copy the same orders from train 6 to train 5. That's one of the nice things about this game, is that you can copy orders versus having to manually do them all the time. Especially when you start getting into complicated orders, it makes it really easy to copy the orders from one train to the next. So at this point, it's just all about, I think I have 4 trains on each line or each circuit. And once I have that, then I just start paying off my debt. And then next thing you know, I've made the $6,000 per month requirement to successfully beat this challenge. So I think that was the 8th train. Let's see how we're doing for, how much money are we pulling in per month? Oh, $5,200. Yeah, this will be easy. Oh wait, no. Oh, I successfully completed the challenge. I forget how I did that, but yay.